They say that the early bird gets the worm. Well, the early birds today are going to get the beginning of the presentation. So, Rob, you think we should get going?
Sure. You got the fat chat fixed. What else are you going to fix today? That's part of it.
We're gonna fix all of their video problems. That's what we're gonna do. So thank you guys so much for being here today. I know that your time is precious and valuable, and you probably have better things to do than listen to me chat, but I promise that Rob and I have some great info for you to take away, especially if you're doing video or you're looking to get into video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so that I could go over this presentation with you and present full screen. Okay, guys, why are we here today? To make better video, to land more clients we love. Why video? Video is a simple way to communicate. You don't have to type out a whole essay. You can just sit and speak about what's on your mind. Plus, it allows people to get to know you better. Hearing you speak helps to build rapport and connection in the digital space. That way, people feel comfortable taking the next step with you. It's really just a natural way to communicate. Plus, video performs well. We know that if we send out a blog post with a video, it gets twice as many clicks as the same topic in text format. And you can use video in your sales funnels to increase conversion up to 80%. 80%. That is a huge jump, which also means including video in your marketing strategy can get you a greater return on your marketing investment, whether that's an investment of time and elbow grease or money that you're spending to have someone help you with your efforts. But if you're here today, these stats are just underscoring what you already know, that video is valuable and you're ready to reap the rewards. So that's why we're here. First, Rob is going to lead you through the technical side of the house, and I will follow up with strategy and FAQs. After that, we'll do our best to answer any questions that pop up in the chat to get you well on your way to creating and publishing video like a pro. So without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes. I'm going to stop share so Rob can show us how it's done.
Show you how it's done. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Olivia, for having me. Excited to jump in. And I think the theme of this as we go through, or at least what I found the most valuable with being on camera, is everything you said, but also creating a system, a physical process so that you can go from typing emails and doing your work to popping on camera and just going. So whether that's you're a guest on a podcast, you're working with clients, meetings, pitch meetings, whatever the type of work you're doing, I find the value really comes from not needing 30, 45 minutes to do this every time. You know, I can drink my coffee upstairs, come downstairs, turn on a couple switches and go. So keep that in mind, and you can definitely reach out to me with questions on equipment and stuff. The equipment I'll be suggesting here for you all has like this perfect middle, I feel like, of will work and make you look great, but it's not gonna, you don't need a bunch of manuals to make it work because video does get a little confusing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna share my screen so I can switch over. I use this program called Ecamm Live so I can swap between webcams, share my screen and do all the fancy stuff. So if you have questions on that, we can also try to get into some of that today or another time. So I'm just calling this presentation the on-camera jumpstart. So again, just breaking down the basics to make you look the best with the equipment you already have. And if there's minor upgrades that you might be willing to make that I feel will make the biggest difference when being on camera. So again, the key is just simple adjustments for your home studio. We don't need to go all Hollywood just yet. And I found in the past, when I have suggested that or gone with clients that were really into all the fancy toys, they don't end up using them as much because they kind of get, caught up in all the tech and stuff. So we'll keep it simple for everyone. Smart equipment choices, so we don't need to be spending thousands of dollars. And I'll even suggest as we go on what you should buy, if anything. I'll give it away right now. It's audio. Always invest in audio first and have everything else follow, and I'll get into why. And then just next steps. So once we go through this presentation, where you can go from here to kind of continue improving your on-camera setup. So the first thing I like to break down is framing. So framing is, and I can switch back to kind of the A camera here, is where the camera is height-wise and the tilt of the camera. So an easy kind of rule of thumb I go for is never see the ceiling or the floor. That's my goal. And usually you get that by having the camera at eye height and maybe just above. Going low, not only do you kind of see up your nose, which I haven't found anyone that looks good on, but the lighting will also start to look weird where the shadows hit. So um, those that want to look better, younger, I always hear, how do I make myself look younger as a joke on set? And really, if you raise the light and your camera, it will, because that will help with shadows and wrinkles and so forth. Um, the easiest way for framing is obviously a tripod, but if you don't have that, if you're just using your laptop webcam, books. Honestly, the easiest way is just to get a couple books and bring up your laptop. If you're using your laptop's webcam and it's on the ground looking up, I'm just going to tell you nicely as I can, you can look better than you do in that. It's one of the worst looking angles, and actually in movies and commercials, we shoot that low angle to make someone look scary, more powerful, and bring a little bit fear into the frame. So I think when you're working with clients and talking to the people you're talking to, you don't want to do that. Vice versa, if you go too high and look down, one, it kind of has this weird eye line where you're looking almost down on the camera, so no one's making direct eye contact with you, and it just kind of makes you look a little smaller and weaker in frame. Again, these are just psychological tips that I've learned from movies, nothing in the extreme there, but the goal is to have the camera lens just right at your eyes or just a little above, and then kind of notice what's in your background. If you're seeing the whole floor and what you have underneath, if you're seeing your ceiling and your ceiling fan, that can be really distracting. And again, that should be telling you there's a better way to frame. We'll get into some gear. The other thing that I love is this little thing called PlexiCam. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of this, but all it does is hook on your monitor and sits either in front of your laptop or your second screen. And then you can mount your iPhone or your webcam. And that way you can still see everyone on the Zoom call in front of you. And then they're giving you sorry, how do you say? You're giving them that direct to eye contact. So this is a great little tool, and I'll throw that in at the end. There's a little sheet we can send everyone that shows you the gear I'm recommending. So kind of went through this without clicking just because that's how I go. And I know Olivia wants to keep everything moving here. So we have the camera at eye height. The next thing I look at when I'm on camera is how close I am to the background. The farther away you are from what's behind you, the softer this is going to look. And I'll switch back here so we can look at the keynote. So this is my webcam, and you can see it's a little sharper back there. It's not bad, but I try to get myself as far away from the background as possible so I can create that depth and soften the background. So it's not as distracting and you're focused more on me or who's speaking in your frame. The other option is green screens and backdrops. We won't spend too much time on this, especially green screen, because you're going to need another light, and there's some technicality to that and software you'll need. But if you're in the laundry room, you're in your bedroom, you're in the kitchen, having something that you could quickly just pop up, even like paper. So they have rolls of paper from 4 feet wide to, I think it's like 107 or 109 inch wide. You can put that just on a stand and roll it down. You don't necessarily need a bunch of lights to throw on it. And actually, I'll give you a little behind the scenes. I'm in my basement, so I actually have those paper taped on the wall behind me. So the blue wall is not some paint I did. It's some kind of nasty basement wall here and an old cinder block wall that I painted white, and it still looked like I was kind of in a jail cell. So those paper backdrops are pretty handy, and they're not that expensive. I think they're like $40. So if you're someone that is in your room in a space, you don't want to see the background, the kids' toys, something like that could be a really nice fix and a quick fix for you. And then lighting. So lighting, obviously, we could do a whole webinar just on lighting, but the basics are what I always do, no matter what I'm shooting, whether it's a commercial or whether I'm in a room like this, is I turn off all the outside lights. I just want to see where the window is, what kind of light is already in there. And a lot of times, if you have a window in your room and you have the overhead light or your desktop light, you might think, oh, good, more light on me. But if the color temperatures are different, sorry, I messed up the slides. Color temperatures, we'll come back to the windows. You want the same color temperature. So a daylight sun is rated at this, they measure it in a thing called Kelvin, and that's 5,600, where your typical desktop lights that are, that warmer color, soft white is what they call them over at like Home Depot and Lowe's. Those are at 2,700. So basically what that's doing is you have like a webcam or a camera that's trying to figure out what is white in the frame to give you the, proper skin tone and white balance. So if you have mixed color temperatures, that's not going to work well. I have the mixed color temperatures in the background because that's not affecting my face. And my cameras, I'm able to lock the white balance. So it's not like an auto white balance where it's kind of searching for it. So in general, I recommend just having all one color light so you don't have to worry about your skin looking different colored. And windows, a lot of times people think you have windows right in front of you, which can work. But what I found is as soon as the sun comes out of the cloud or goes into the cloud, you either have blasting light and you don't look that great, or it goes away and you kind of look like you're in witness protection giving an interview because we can't see your face anymore. So I like the windows to the side of my face, and then I put my key light kind of right in front, either right over the camera or just to the side. And what that does is, and I'll switch back to the A camera so I'm framed up, but that gives kind of the nice shadow. And if I wanted a little bit more light, then I would either add another light on this side to bring this up, or I would say what they call wrap the light. So just simply move the light more towards centered. So that kind of gives me my basic setup for lighting. So if you have a window, try it on the side, turn off all the lights, see what it looks like. And then if you have one light, put it right behind the camera and then just slightly adjust that. And you're going to see this nice natural, it looks like you're sitting right next to a window. And that's always the look I go for. And those that want a flatter look, maybe they don't want the shadows, then just put the lights directly behind the camera, and that'll give you that look. Lights on same side. Okay, we got that. Okay, and then sound. I saved this for last, actually, because I wanted to make sure I had the most time. Oh, tips for glasses. Okay, so tip for glasses. That is a hard one. So the thing to think about is you're dealing with kind of multiple angles here. You have the angle of your camera lens and the angle of your glasses and the angle of the light. Usually what ends up working is bringing the light a little bit more towards the side, so it's out of like the direct reflection of your glasses, and going a little bit higher. The thing is, once you get to a point, you're actually going to start seeing the glasses line, the shadow from your glasses on your face gets sharper. The farther the light gets away from you, the harsher the shadow. So it's one of those where you just have to play. I've been doing this for 15 years and I still play with it on set in terms of like finding the position. So it is one of those things you just kind of have to adjust a little bit slightly until you find that sweet spot. But getting the light a little bit to the side, close to you, and then high, you can sometimes find that magic angle where it doesn't show up in your glasses. And another trick I use sometimes is you just slightly tilt your glasses up. Not so much where it looks like it too much. You don't want to look goofy. I don't know if that's the right word, but there is a trick where you can just slightly tilt them down. It doesn't really see it on camera, and that sometimes will do the trick there. So hopefully that answers that question
Hey,
with that.
Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Okay. There was one more question, and I know
Mhm.
we said we were going to save these for the end, but I feel like it's on framing, and so if you want to just touch on that, Brad is wondering, can you cover any tips for using my iPhone for videos? Is there a best way to upload or frame those videos for Facebook and social media?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'll just assume we're talking like on camera, typical what we're kind of doing here. So you're at your desk filming it. I will say as a webcam, that iPhone is great. And you can get apps such as Camo, CAMO, and shoot.tv or squares.tv, Michael Forrest, his company. And they give you full manual controls of your camera. And that iPhone camera is way better than most webcams, until you're spending $300 or more dollars. So if you have an iPhone and nothing else, or an old webcam, or just your MacBook Pro webcam, having an app like that can let you dial in the settings manually, which is great. In terms of filming for it, if it's 9:16, I would just shoot it vertical if you're only putting out like shorts and reels. That way you're getting the most resolution, on the side. You're not taking that 1080 file and scrunching it down and then reframing it, if that makes sense. So I usually just go for the highest quality. I think it's always 30 frames per second. There's a ProRes option, which is cool, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's overkill, and then you're going to end up with a lot bigger file sizes. So hopefully that answers that. And if not, feel free to reach out if I'm missing the question on that one. Sound. I think sound is the most important part, especially if you're on any type of podcasting or you're doing webinars. You want people to sound good. And what we can do real quick is like just a quick test, because a lot of times you don't notice the difference until you hear it. So right now you're hearing me on a nice broadcast dynamic microphone. It's kind of like the standard style for any podcast. Olivia, I see you have a nice microphone in there too. So if we were just to show you the difference, we go from here, and now I'm in my MacBook Pro studio. Can you hear the difference on that? I'm just seeing if that switched over or not.
Yes,
So
it's so much duller.
yeah, and you
Like when
probably,
you
I
have
even
the
have a
mic on, it's
fan. I have a
dynamic.
fan in the background there because I don't want to get all sweaty and hot. So one of the nice things about having a good microphone is you can actually have fan and your air condition running. So anyone that's, I know you're in Florida, right, Olivia? So I assume you don't want to be going no air condition.
Yeah, I have a fan on. I have to keep it on low or else you can hear it usually. But yes, we definitely have the fan on.
Yeah. So that's been a big help. And then even with headphones, just I have these kind of they were only $50, which I think is pretty cheap for headphones I wear every day. Um, these type are like what musicians or dancers will wear. So you don't and the main reason for that is for the echo. So I'm still hearing you nice and clear. I don't have to turn up my MacBook Pro speakers and then get the audio in the microphone. So separating your input from your output gives you a much cleaner sound as well. And AirPods work well too. The only thing about AirPods is once you get used to this sound, you will hear the difference. Like they just sound a little bit better than your MacBook Pro speakers or your built-in speakers because they're closer to your face. But I also recommend though AirPods if you want to just use for reference. So meaning if you just want to use those and select it for your headphones, that way, again, you're not blasting anybody talking into your microphone when you're in a situation like this or when you're talking with your client. There's no reverb on that. Um, so I don't know if anyone has questions on those, just in terms of the differences or why it's important. But again, if you're going to look to invest in one thing, I would start with audio first. If you're only using just, kind of your AirPods or you're using your built-in, your speakers. In terms of microphones, the nice thing is like you don't have to spend $300 to make a huge difference. The biggest difference you'll find is what's called the line of sight. So that's the line. And again, I'll switch to the A cam. It's a little bit easier. But basically, where is your voice traveling? Because once I'm out here, you can hear the difference that I'm missing the microphone. I'm a little past it. But once I get in here, you can hear the difference. You can almost like feel the difference. And I find anyone that's been on bigger calls with multiple people in a meeting, sometimes it's hard to be heard, right? And people talk over to each other. But I've noticed when I go like this, I can kind of control the room a little bit more. So it's a really nice tool to be able to get it right where you want it. So
I
what
wish that
I,
worked with my children, that
oh,
I
I
could just
know.
when I get really close, I tell them what to do.
I should start doing that. I should just carry a speaker around and do that. Like,
Yeah.
but see, you
Just
did that and
come
I
behind them on
listened
the
to it.
microphone.
I don't know if anyone else listened to it, but once you got in, I was like, okay, Olivia's talking. I'm going to listen here. Here's my money.
I love it.
And with that, something, and I noticed Olivia, you have it too, is the boom arm. So this arm is just, it clamps on my, and it allows me to move around. So these, you can get the cheap ones on Amazon for like $20, I think. And then, if you spend 80 to 100, you'll get one that you never have to buy again, is the way I look at it. So these are really great. They also just have the desktop stands. But what I like, again, is as soon as we're done with this webinar, I have some other work I got to do. I literally just slide the mic out of the way and I go back to work. So highly recommend a boom arm just to get it in the right spot and get it easily. A clip-on microphone. I know
Like a lapel mic?
yeah, I think that's
Okay.
what we're asking. I would say Rode has some new ones, RODE, and I believe those can get plugged right into your iPhone. There are a lot of lavs now that can. You just have to get the adapter. And I think the Rode set, like the receiver and transmitter, is like a $200 set, which isn't bad for wireless lavs. Like the one I have was $700, and that's just considered like okay in the film world. So but it also has lasted forever. But yeah, the Rode one is there, and I think I have that on my gear list as well.
That's
Okay. Okay,
on
go
that
ahead.
note. I really like lapel mics for your sales funnel videos. So I'm going to go over types of videos that are common for financial advisors to make and where to post them and all that kind of stuff. Just a note, lapel mics can be great for those where you don't necessarily want this in the frame, or if you're using a green screen and then you've got this different background and this huge mic in the front. Sometimes it just kind of ruins the vibe, and you want to feel close with the person because you're asking them to take an action or make the conversion. So that can be a good thing to get invest in if you're going to make a lot of videos. A lapel mic.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's with the microphone types, I break it down to like three. There's three main ones you would be dealing with in this type of work. So dynamic microphone is just considered the podcast mic. I think even now they've kind of rebranded because of how popular podcasting is, where if you just search on Amazon or Google podcast or microphone, these types would show up. So these are XLR. Again, I'll show more of the gear and the pricing. There's some that have both XLR and can go into USB-C. This one goes into like an interface, which gives you a little more control. But again, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend adding all these layers just yet. You can get a lot of great microphones on Amazon for about $100 that plug right into your computer. And again, as long as you get it close to your face, it will sound very good, and it's going to sound much better than AirPods or your built-in microphone on your computer. Shotgun and boom microphone, it's kind of similar to what this is, but it's a little bit skinnier. I even have one right here above my head, and those are for being out of the shot. So they're made to be a little farther away so you don't see it in your frame. But again, I think I would either go with a lapel mic or this broadcaster mic, depending on the work you're doing. And mostly because in this professional space, so many people are on podcasts that this look, at least even for me, doesn't bother me. And if you've ever watched recently this year any of the sports shows, ESPN, I've noticed a lot of them now have these microphones, in the shot. It's kind of almost like they're making it look like a podcast. So I love these just because going, microphone to microphone and testing it, these sound the best, and they remove the most amount of noise in the room, if that makes sense. So it's really like it's a cardioid pattern, which means it's kind of like a triangle pointed towards me, and it blocks out anything below here. Because again, once I go back here, you barely can hear me. You do have to be kind of right on it. But once you are, like I said, it's nice. You can have the air condition running and the heat running in the winter. So I'm all about that. And then the last one is the wireless lavalier or the lapel mic. And those are great because you can either hide the mic with a clip, or, they're really small microphones. You can just clip on a collared shirt. You can kind of play around with that. There's tons of great videos on YouTube on how to hide the mic if you want, or just show it. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong, especially in these settings, to have a microphone here, especially if it's sounding good. And then you just put the transmitter in your pocket, and then the receiver would plug into your iPhone or your camera or your computer. And I'll just see.
You want to do the raised hand? You want to speak to the raised hands?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Do you? Oh, maybe you don't have the access to it. I'm going to go ahead and select Meredith because she's had her hand up since the beginning.
Okay.
Hi, Meredith. Can you hear us? Okay. I don't know. Maybe she's not there. Okay. We'll come back to, ask to unmute. Okay. Okay. We will come back to her because I don't know if she's listening. Let's go, Connor. Hi, Connor. We have selected you to ask your question.
Oh, he's saying he's okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. All right. Proceed. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. And that's fine. It was a good time to kind of take a second. So what we'll do here, let me just make sure I have the right, here we go. Screen share here. And what we will do is we will kind of finish up. So what I'm going to do, I'll do this live. I forgot about this. Don't mind the movingness. That's the nice thing about Ecamm. If you end up having your video in the wrong place, you can just click and drag out of the way. So for lights, and again, what I'll do is I have a PDF I made, and then we can send out with the follow-up email, so you all have this in ways you can just click and see it. But quickly, here's what I recommend. The Elgato key light, it's $180. You'll not need another one. It's about almost 2 feet, a foot and a half wide, and maybe it's like 4 or 6 inches tall. But it comes with like a great desktop clamp, and it's controlled from your computer or your phone, or if you have one of those fancy Stream Decks. So I really like that. So all the control is done on my computer. I don't have to get up and go around and dim something or change the color balance. So that has everything from all the way past daylight and all the way warm is like candlelight. So you have this full color range no matter what lights you already have in your room. And then this is like the more expensive version. So I know there are some people that want to do more than just the content in their office. Amarion makes these 2 foot by 1 foot panels that are great and easy to set up at your desk. But if you go on location somewhere, if you're interviewing a client, if you're trying to do live podcasting, in-person podcasting, that is a great option. $400 for a bicolor and $600 for RGB, which means you know on an app you can completely control the colors and do a lot of fun stuff with it. Fill light is just the light that's gonna kind of go with your key light. So that's gonna fill in the shadows. And I'll look this way. Sorry, I forgot this camera is the one I'm looking at. You would fill in shadow. So you could, again, put it on the same side as the key light or slightly just above the camera, or you bring it to the other side. The key to remember is as you go farther to the opposite side, if that light gets too bright, you're going to have what's called double shadow. So you'll start having a little bit of shadow here and there. I don't like that because I feel like it makes my nose look weird, but maybe, test it and see what it looks like for you. After you're on camera enough, you kind of notice the little things, but those are actually the bulbs I have in the background too, which I think are just kind of handy to have. The more expensive option for that is kind of the key light, the Elgato's key light little brother, and this is the key light Air. So it's like probably about this big, about the size of my face almost, and it comes with its own desktop stand. If you wanted to mount it to the table, you'd have to buy one of the clamps. But that's a great light that you can put real close to you and just give you a little fill. And I know some people that use that light as their key light. So if you already have a bright room, maybe the window's on the side, and you just need a little extra kiss on the face to bring up the eyes, the Elgato key light key light Air is a great option at 130. And then again, another more expensive one, if you're trying to be on set, Nan Light, it has this thing called a MixPad 27. And that's like a more professional, you can travel with this light. It can take a little abuse. And that has a full RGB option as well. And then we didn't talk too much about it, but hair light. So especially if you're doing anything with a backdrop or background, green screen or paper, having a little light hitting your hair just to separate you helps a lot. And it separates you from the background. It just has a nice look to it. I'm kind of utilizing the practicals, these lights I'm hanging in the background to kind of give my edge, my hair a little edge. And that's why I have it a slightly different color. So that's why a practical is just even having a lamp that can work well placed. And then tube lights are a popular one. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're really cool. You can go from 10 inches all the way up to 4 foot. But since they're so light, you can easily hang them with a stand. You can put them on a stand and work them in so you don't see the light or the stand. And those are a really great option for a hair light. They also work great as a fill light or a key light. Those are kind of like a handy light you could kind of use for anything. And then for audio, we'll go through audio real quick. So the one I recommend to everyone, if you're really going to invest and you don't want to buy a microphone next year, 2 years, 4 or 5 years from now, is this Shure MV7X. So what's so great about this one is it has XLR and USB outputs. So right now you can get it, plug it into your computer, and then maybe next year, if you want to upgrade, you can get, a USB interface. So that gives you a little bit more control with the gain, and you get a little more cleaner sound. But again, it's not needed. So I like that that's something you can have now and then add to it later. You would obviously need to get kind of the microphone arm, as we talked about. Another option that's like $100 less is the Elgato Wave 3. So that's a simple USB microphone. It has a little stand. It's very similar to the Blue Yetis, if you've seen those. I haven't used one personally, but I've done a lot of research on the best like 1 to 150 range for microphones, and that's the one I kept going back to. So that's one I recommend often for people. For wireless lav, like I was saying, the Rode Wireless Go 2 It's a single channel, so you have a transmitter and receiver. And when you get it for 200, which is a really great price for what it is, you can go ahead and just actually clamp the transmitter on. So it's a little bit bigger. It's like a box, but again, you could start with that right now, and then down the road, you could buy the microphone that plugs into that, and then the receiver plugs into your iPhone or into your computer, into your USB device. So that's definitely what I recommend for that. And I only put one because honestly, I don't trust the really cheap ones on Amazon because I haven't used it. So I don't want to tell you to save money and get that, and 3 months later it's not working, or it always has some weird sound to it. So I know at a baseline that's great, and really after that you're looking at $600 or more on a wireless lav. So if that is something you're interested in, just reach out. But I figured for the most of us, 200 for a wireless lav is already quite a bit. And then the final one for miscellaneous. So the Focusrite, the 2-channel USB interface, that's what I recommend. That is so you can get a professional XLR mic or two into your computer. And what's really great with these is you can get ones. I don't recommend just getting the single input. I recommend getting two or more. And that way, if you ever go somewhere, if you go to a trade show and you're able to set up a little podcast, or you're on the road and you want to have someone, it just gives you a few more options with plugging your microphones into your computer. And then some of us might be familiar with the Rode streamers. They have it's like a mini mixing board. They have a lot of different options. This new one is pretty cool because it combines both video and audio. So you'd be able to plug in professional cameras, or, whatever cameras you have into this device and your audio, and it all comes in a little box. So we'll send out the sheet to go through it. I know that probably seems like a lot. I tried to not overflow all of that. So not sure if there's
No, that
questions.
was great. You guys, I love hair lights. I put this in the chat, but I installed these lights behind me, and it has this little remote, but I didn't want to wire them into the wall. So I got these rechargeable ones.
Mm.
You're like, have to plug them in with a USB or whatever. They weren't very expensive. They're really fun. I just always forget to charge them. But they make a nice little, like Rob said, it makes like a nice little halo on you. Like people don't notice it. Like it's not like they can see it, but it will just like separate you a little bit more. It makes you the dynamic, more depth.
Yeah. And then also, like, one thing I didn't think of this going through it when I started. I'll just kind of end on this, but one of my favorite parts with working one-on-one and doing the consulting is seeing people like go from a little tentative on camera, and then you get a couple lights and they're looking good, they feel themselves, and a week or two later you get the text like, I feel so much better on camera, I recorded 10 videos this week, and it's just like that. I think that's awesome. So some of this might seem like overkill, but I have found when you just put in a little extra effort and you're really happy with how you're looking on camera, I don't know, I just feel like the content gets better. My podcast, I feel like, has gotten better as I feel more confident. So I think there's like this ripple effect to that as well.
There definitely is. And you guys, I don't know if you've watched any of my past videos or anything like that, but you know that I recently moved my office. This was inspired by Rob. He came out with his on demand camera course, which was sort of the part of the inspiration for this webinar, but it teaches you all of these things like the framing, and you really supposed to be like under the lights over here, but things have gotten askew as I've cleaned and such. But what was the point of saying that? Then I feel more confident, and people treat me better on the phone. I'm not going to lie. When I have prospect calls and things like that, people take me way more seriously. And even my current clients, they're like, wow, this is like a real glow up. Like, we love it. We're loving it. I mean, and it makes me feel good, especially like going into a sales call, for example. Like I feel confident in, the way that I look, everything that's going on. It's like you have inspired, and it's true. It affects every area when you feel good about what you're doing.
I'm glad. Yeah, I was really impressed by yours, Olivia, because I believe you were kind of in like a kitchen dining mix, a multi-purpose room, which I'm sure we all have a multi-purpose room at our house at this point. And then you were, I mean, I love how everything looks. I think it looks great.
My only problem, and we don't have to address this now, clearly, we'll talk to you about it later, is this window over here. You see the glare from the window?
Yeah.
I got to figure out what to do with that.
The easiest way is to take the glass out of the poster. You can take the glass out of the poster if you want.
Oh.
That's what we do on set. But again, that's your home, so maybe you don't want it without a glass forever. But
the office comes before the home.
Okay.
Okay, this is more important than what people think of my home. It's what people think of my office. Anyways, okay. No, I mean, that was great information. Does anybody else have any questions about the technical side? If you do, Rob is going to be monitoring the chat as I go through my piece. I know that we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to get into it. Okay, are we ready? Ready to go, Rob?
Yeah,
You
I'm
cool?
ready.
Okay. Let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is 5 videos that I think every financial advisor needs to have. So these are going to be evergreen videos that you keep. You can put some on your homepage. You can put them on your YouTube channel. There are different places that we can put them. But the first one is going to be a firm overview. Who do you work with and why? There's a really great example of this. It's a little bit on the longer side for my liking, but if you go to coloradowealthgroup.com, they have used the Donald Miller story brand for their messaging. And so if you're familiar with that, you'll notice right away the key elements of that format in their messaging in their firm overview video. But they did a really nice job. It was professionally done. There's some B-roll, there's some voiceover. It's a little bit of a different style, but it is a good example. Number 2 video, about video. This is going to be kind of similar to the first one, but it's going to be more about you as, you know, an advisor in the firm or the owner of the advisory firm. How or why you became a financial advisor is a really good one. This is it lends to human interest. People always want to know why you're doing what you're doing. And of course, everybody loves a good origin story. The third one is a process video. How can people work with you? So what is your process like? Is there an introductory call, an introductory meeting? Do you have a discovery process? Do you have a survey? Who do they meet with when they first come to the firm? Is it a 4-step process, a 5-step process? Whatever it is, how can people get started with you? What do they need to do to prepare? What are the next steps for them to take? Like for Lexicon Advisor Marketing, if you're interested in working with us, you can use the link in any of the emails that we send you, or my featured section in LinkedIn, or through the website, of course. Now, the 4th and the 5th videos, they're going to be more tailored to who your target audience is and your overall marketing strategy. You should have identified at some point in your marketing journey, what are the top 3 to 5 main pain points that your ideal customer has. Pick 2 of those, make videos on them. A good example, a friend and client of mine, Jason of Cornerstone Wealth Consulting Services, who serves contractors and business owners in the construction industry. He is actually recording 2 videos just like this tomorrow, and we were working on his answers to the questions this week. We literally just finished the project last night. 2 of his clients' main pain points are retirement tax planning and estate planning mistakes. So there were about 4 or 5 questions for each of those 2 topics. And I put together the answers for him based on his brand message that we wrote together. And he'll record those with a professional agency who's going to help him with that. So I don't live near him, I can't help him. But this leads me to, well, before we get to the next point, let me talk quickly about the ideal length for intro videos. I really like to keep it under 2 minutes. Some people will say under 5, but to be honest with you, we just don't spend that much time unless we're deeper into the sales funnel process. So for those people who are just coming to see you for the first time, we want the video to be, you know, ideally under the 2-minute mark. But the point about Jason's videos leads me to this interesting caveat that I don't think a lot of people realize, that you don't actually have to do all of your videos by yourself. You can do an interview format, not, you know, have someone, a professional interviewer can do it, or another advisor in the firm, or a CSA, or maybe your marketing partner can help you with this. It doesn't have to be something that you do by yourself. Now, should you get a pro video recorded or do UGV? What is UGV? UGV is user generated video. That's video that we're making ourselves. So that really is the topic for today. Do professional videos have their place? Yes, but with the technology that's available in our information that's available these days, and with people like Rob on hand, we can actually create these videos ourselves. So outside of the evergreen content videos, you should be fine to film on your own, especially now that we have the lessons from Rob. So there are different places that you're going to be able to use this user generated video. 3 common places that I'm going to talk about today are landing pages in your funnel, in your email, and also in social media. On landing pages in your sales funnel, you'll typically have something that's called a VSL, which is a video sales letter. It is designed for conversion to a specific goal. Book a call, get a free financial evaluation, claim your free guide, or let me review your Medicare benefits. These are all examples of offers that you can have. And what you'll do is you will use a video to promote the offer. You can also do this similarly in email to convert people who are already in your email list to buy or start the engagement. But I think that probably a lot of you, are going to want to make social media videos. But whatever kind you're going to make, first you've got to decide what are your goals. So there's six stages. I mean, there's different variations of this in your sales funnel. But the social media videos that we're talking about are going to be up here in this awareness and interest stage, most likely. And then the VSL videos are usually going to fall down a little bit further because they've come to your landing page with the video from, you know, a social ad or an organic social post or in an email. So they've already gotten past the awareness stage. They know who you are. Perhaps they've already opted in and they're getting to that VSL sales page. So first, identify what you're trying to make, and this will largely be determined by your capital M marketing strategy. So who are you targeting, and what are you making the video for? These are critical in determining what you're going to do with your videos, right? So who's your target audience? What are their buying or consumption patterns? And that can help you identify where they spend their time online, because in marketing, we want to meet them where they are. We can't expect them to come to us. It's not a build it and they will come. We actually have to go out there and give them a reason to come. And what is the language that you need to use with them at each stage of the process? If you followed me for a while, you know that I will say time and time again, it's not just what you say, but where you say it. The timing of the information that you share is important. So your videos should align with your like capital M marketing strategy.
Did you update the slides, Olivia? They were just asking, are your slides updated with what you're talking about? Or was the 5 videos every advisor should have? Is that what you're, I'm just answering the questions in the
okay.
Q&A.
No, that's okay. The 5 videos every advisor should have are right here. And these are the intro videos. So these are the ones that we want to keep under 2 minutes. I do recommend, if you're going to put them on your homepage, to get them professionally done, or really take a good chance to set up your space so it looks really nice when you're recording, have high quality. If they're going to be homepage videos, these are, obviously, like, they're supposed to be reflective of you and your brand and like core foundational pieces of your marketing puzzle. So I think you should consider doing a professional or just really take your time. And then, so we talked about, do you have to do them alone? No, you can do them guided. Should you do them professionally or user generated video? Again, for the evergreen videos, I do recommend really taking your time or using a professional. User generated, though, that's what we're going to focus on now for the rest of the presentation. So those were the 3 places that we could. Did that answer the question? I don't really know. I don't think I answered the question right, but yes, the slides are updated as long as you can see me scrolling through them. Yes. Can you hear me, Rob? Hold on. I cannot hear you, so let me go to.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh, you got me so nervous. Okay.
It's on me.
No, it's okay. Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah, it's like for
Okay.
some reason, yeah, we were only on page 3 as you were going through that. For some reason, we didn't see
Oh, okay.
the other
Can you?
pages.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Okay,
all right. Yeah,
so
we're on page 8 right now is what we see.
do you see me clicking through them?
No, I don't. I don't see you
Oh,
moving on
this is
the
so bizarre. Okay. All right, I'm just going to put it on the whole desktop. So let's see if that works instead of just going to present the whole thing. Can you see this one?
Yeah, so you're on page 9.
Video sales letter.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the sales funnel again?
Yes, now we do.
Okay. So I think we should be okay. Okay. The ideal length for the video sales letter, these should be short. Typically speaking, 30 to 60 seconds. Studies show that 1/5 of landing page viewers will bounce after 10 seconds, and 1/3 will bounce after 30 seconds. Videos can help hold their attention and increase conversions by up to 80%. Now, this is a general recommendation, but there are instances where a longer video sales letter is also acceptable. That is, if they have already opted in or completed a conversion already, meaning they've joined your email list. In that case, there already is some interest being expressed, so it is okay to do a longer video in email. Similarly, if you have a multi-stage sales funnel, if they've already opted in, say from a sticky ad, or maybe they've clicked through to the landing page, we can sort of consider that a type of conversion. So you might be able to get away with longer videos. But if you have certain tools will have analytics and allow you to see, how long most people watch. That's a good thing to check. If they're not getting to the call to action, then you could, increase your conversion by shortening the video and making sure that more people get to the actual CTA. And I just kind of pulled this screenshot because it also has a really good tip down here that I think is pretty standard for video landing pages or any kind of post that you're going to make. But we don't want to forget about it in video, is having a strong, crystal clear call to action. Tell people what to do. Don't give them a lot of options. Click here to claim your free whatever. Buy the book down below. Link in the comments, or whatever it is. I guess you want to link in the comments on your video, but yes, make sure that you have a very strong call to action for your videos. Okay, now what about social content videos? Can you see this one? And I can't hear you again.
That's because I put myself on mute. I keep
Oh,
forgetting. Sorry.
you're being
That's my
nice.
bad.
Okay. So ideal length for social content. No, we all know that short form content is reigning supreme. And there's a couple reasons for this. Because people have a lot of things to do and they're inundated with content. And unless you're solving an immediate pain point, the chances of them staying on your video are going to be pretty slim. So we have to take steps to make sure that people are going to stay. And keeping it short and to the point is helpful. So when we're talking about social content length, we got YouTube shorts. You get up to 60 seconds. These are shot in the 1916 aspect ratio, which is vertical on your phone. It's also the same as it is, for Reels, for Instagram and TikToks. The same 9:16 aspect ratio. Then you've got your YouTube long videos. They say financial advisors, I don't think most of them are trying to monetize their YouTube channel. It has happened, but that I don't really think that should be your goal. Your goal is to land more clients, because your lifetime value is probably gonna be a lot higher than anything you're gonna make from YouTube, unless you're making that your primary job. But so they say 8 to 10 minutes, but I would say if you're doing regular long videos for YouTube, I also say keep it under 5 minutes, possibly even still the 2-minute range. Get in there, get your hands dirty and get out. Let people get the information that they need. And if it's long, break it up into multiple videos. There's no reason that it has to be just one. And then reels for Instagram, you get up to 90 seconds, but really people are only watching for like 7 to 15 unless they're super engaged, and then they'll watch the whole thing. So here are some tips on the length to keep it within. So now that you know how to set up to make good looking video and you know how long your videos should be, now it's time to decide what to put in your videos. And I have a warning here. Video sales letter videos should be scripted by a direct sales copywriter. There is a science to the way they are laid out, what is said where, and how the CTA is structured. You can try to do it yourself, but I mean, just have someone help you with that. But for UGV, or user generated video, the kind you're going to be making on your own, short form or long form, you'll want to follow your typical social post format inside the recorded video. And I guess you could say this is this is standard for email too, right? So you've got the intro or the hook, the point of interest that stops the scroll or gets people to watch more than 2 seconds. The body, the meat, what's the reason people are here? Why should they care about this? And a strong call to action, which we pointed out in the earlier slide. What should people do to capitalize on the info in the video? You want it to be your solution. Okay. So don't send them to another website or send them to your buddy. Obviously, you want the solution to be something that you can help them with. Of course, there's going to be times, you might want to make an informational video about new legislation that came out, and it's something that they have to do on their own. For example, like I know TD Ameritrade, for example, this whole merger just happened with Schwab, and we had to tell clients what to expect. There were parts of that process that we couldn't do for them. So in that case, it would be okay to share a CTA that wasn't your solution, but you are still, educating them and keeping them informed and build that trust, know, like, and trust value. Okay, so topics, what to talk about. You always want to align your video content with your larger content strategy. 3 reasons. It takes 7 to 9 or up to 12, depending where you're reading, touches for people to remember a sales message or brand message. Greater reach of the message. Not everybody in your audience is going to see every post that you make every time. So for example, a lot of people right now are talking about 529s because it's back to school season. This is something that's common to talk about this time of year. So maybe you make 5 or 6 videos on different aspects of the 529 savings vehicle, benefits, pros and cons, new legislation that affects how you can use it if your son or daughter doesn't end up going to a traditional 4-year college. This is greater reach of the message. So, spread it out, more touches. Also, SEO. Social media does contribute to your SEO. And why that matters is because SEO is basically the process of you teaching Google what you specialize in so they can help more people find you. So if you have a blog post on 529s and you have a video of a couple videos on 529s on your YouTube, and you posted a couple of them also in Instagram, YouTube is going to recognize all this and link these with their web of information about you so that they can know how to categorize you in this gigantic world and help people find you that need your help. If you don't have a larger strategy that you're working with, some great places to start are main pain points of your target audience. Like earlier I was talking about, retirement tax considerations or estate planning mistakes. What are the top 3 to 5 things that your target audience has problems with, and what are those pain points that lead them to schedule the call with you? If you aren't sure, you can mine your own clients and your own prospect conversations for ideas. If 1 or 2 people has the same question, chances are there's probably 20 or so who have the same question. And this is just an extra slide that tells you how you can work with us. That's not necessary to go over at this very moment, but let's see if we had any questions. I'm going to stop the share. Okay. We have about 4 minutes. We got through the
Olivia, I don't
scroll.
think I see you now.
Oh, hey
There you
guys, I'm
are.
back. Okay. So let's see if there is anybody who has any questions. No.
There was a
We were
few
so
a
good.
few
There's no
little ones,
question.
yeah. A few during that. I was getting on that while you were going through.
I saw a stat that said the YouTube shorts that get the most engagement are between 50 and 60 seconds. Yeah, YouTube shorts, you can go ahead and do the whole 60 seconds. And YouTube shorts are great because they're like really searchable, meaning YouTube wants people to watch these. So they're making them front and center a priority. So honestly, if you had a choice right now, but doing shorts or full length YouTube videos, I would go with the shorts because they're more discoverable at the moment. Throw in a few hashtags. You can also put tags in the upload form in YouTube when you upload the video. I always put hashtag financial advisor marketing or tag financial advisor marketing, so that you teach YouTube how to categorize your video. And retention is also important for YouTube. What do you want to expand on that briefly?
Oh yeah, I was just one of the newer things I've seen with like following the algorithms and systems is that YouTube is really placing not necessarily how many views it gets, will it decide how much does it put out to other users, but how much percentage wise of that video is getting watched. So if you have videos that are only getting 5%, watch, the retention, it's not really like they're not going to like kind of put it up on the next shelf where it's easier
Right.
for people to see. So I found even with some of the videos, I started trying like 6 to 12-second videos. And what I noticed is these were just kind of text-based stuff. Like the retention was like 120%, 200%. So it's like almost so quick that the information's there, but people had to rewatch it or pause. And then I saw kind of some of the numbers start to jump a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Yes, Meredith, the YouTube shorts are a thing. So when you go here, I'll just see if I can go to my YouTube real quick and I'll show you. Don't mind my computer screen. Just is for the sake of the webinar. So let me go to my channel. You'll see here we have the videos list. These are all my long, like regular horizontal long videos. They can be basically as long as you want. And then the shorts. So these are the 16:9s, under 60 seconds. And they just, they just perform really well. So that's that. They are a thing. I have a podcast that I put on YouTube. The beginning of each episode starts with an introduction, but I'm concerned the intro is too long and I lose viewers. How long would you do an intro, if any? Yeah, I know I struggle with this too, with myself and with my clients, because I have a long intro and I'm kind of attached to it. I like it. I like the way it looks, I like the way it sounds. It goes with the audio. But we have experimented doing shorter intros for just the video version, and I really do like those. I'm talking like a couple of seconds, like flash maybe the logo or the name of the podcast and then get right into it. I know people can scrub through. Oh, on that note, when you are uploading your YouTube videos, I highly recommend putting in the timestamps so that it will generate chapters that people can actually scrub through to the different sections. So you'll see when you go to my YouTube video, one of the long ones, there's different, so here's my intro. Here's the different chapters, and I've identified the chapters by putting in the timestamps here. And then it auto generates a link. So if they want to go quickly to the struggle of selling and importance of emotional connection, all they do is have to click here and it's going to take them right to the section that they want to watch. So I highly recommend that. It allows people to get to the information that they're looking for quickly. So yes, I mean, if you have a cool intro, I would suggest experimenting and seeing if a shorter intro helps people get through better.
And
We
that's
hope
what I
this
was going to say
suggests.
too. Just experiment with it. Because I've noticed on some, I feel like I want to introduce the guests, but a lot of the statistics and what you would read and see is that you get a better retention without an intro when you do just jump into it. And
Yeah.
then sometimes they play with it where you do the first minute or two of your episode and then and then do like an actual formal intro depending on how you start the show. So I think a lot of it is just playing with it because the algorithms are changing so much. So it's kind of I think it's a good skill set to know how to do it in a few different ways.
Definitely, definitely. So guys, we are so happy that you attended. Thank you for coming. Rob, do you want to tell people where they can find you? Of course, we'll be emailing all of this information out with the recordings. And if you would like copies of the decks, just respond to the email and we'll send you a copy of our decks. And so Rob, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm most active on LinkedIn. So just my name, Rob Ruscher, Ruscher. And then all the educational stuff I'm building out that's related to being on camera is on a website. It's humancreatives.ai. So human creatives with an S at the end, .ai. So that and LinkedIn is where I'm most active.
Yes. And you guys know lexiconadvisormarketing.com, LinkedIn, Olivia Luper, YouTube. I just showed you my YouTube channels, Lexicon Advisor Marketing. But again, everybody who's registered, attendees and non-attendees, will receive all of this in email. So you can reply directly to the emails and speak with us. We hope this was helpful. And thanks for coming.
Thank you.